Hey YouTube, Carrots Week here, bringing you all an update to my Ghostrick Yugioh deck profile for post-Battle of Chaos. We got some really good support in the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set, including the Link monster you see here for the Ghostrick deck, a Link one that actually lets you use face-down Ghostrick monsters as the Link material for it, and then just setting up the actual playstyle of the Ghostrick deck, which is to use all the different face-down Ghostrick monsters to basically call shenanigans against your opponent and any cards they try to use against you, making it so they can't attack any of your face down monsters or even attack at all with the locks you can create with this deck. Happy with the results and the new support we got from the set. We got a new spell, trap, main deck monster, and link monster, so all great additions to the deck. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the main deck monsters for the new Ghostricks, I'm running 3 Ghostrick Siren. This is a level 4 Ghostrick. It cannot be normal summoned unless you control a Ghostrick monster, and that effect is shared by all the Ghostrick monsters for the main deck. And once per turn during your main phase, you can change this face down card, face up card to face down defense position. And if this card is normal summon or flip face up, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Then after this card was a Ghostrick card, you can apply one of these effects. You can either add 1 Ghostrick Power Trap from your deck to your hand, or you can change 1 effect monster your opponent controls to face down defense position. So having all your opponent's monsters be in face down defense position definitely is a benefit for the Ghostrick deck, but we do run a good number of different Ghostrick spell and traps as well, so being able to search out any of those cards, including the newest one, Ghostrick Shot, definitely does help for the overall setup that this deck is meant to do. I also run 3 Ghostrick Jiangshi. This one cannot be normal summoned while you control a Ghostrick monster once per turn, unless you control a Ghostrick monster. Remember that key fact. And once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position. And when this card is flip face up, and you can add 1 card from your deck to your hand, 1 Ghostrick monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of Ghostrick monsters you control. You can only use this effect of Jiangshi once per turn. So even just flipping up this card and having it be the only monster on the field, you can at least add a level 1 Ghostrick monster to your hand, with that monster, or at least the first one, being our Ghostrick Lantern. Sadly, I only have 2 lanterns, so I have 1 Ghostrick Stein as a placeholder for it, but you definitely do want to run 3 Lantern. It cannot be normal summoned unless you control a Ghostrick monster. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position, and when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, or when a Ghostrick monster you control is target for an attack, you can negate the attack, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand in face down defense position. So you have a setup card to stop an attack, giving you a level 1 monster that you can then use to either special summon into your new Link monster, or some of the rank 1 options we have, including Ghostrick Dullahan in the deck. And the other level 1 monster we run in the deck is Ghostrick Mary. It cannot be normal summon unless you control a Ghostrick monster. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position. When you take damage, you can discard this card to special summon 1 Ghostrick monster from your deck in face down defense position. You can only use this effect of Ghostrick Mary once per turn. This is probably the most important card in the deck for actual Ghostrick monster setup. Just being able to take damage and giving you access to any of the Ghostrick monsters for further support is what makes Mary so important. You just have the discard option for that special summon. Then your opponent either has to rely on having that face down monster to deal with, or any other card you use. For some of the lower numbers for the Ghostricks, I also run 2 Ghostrick Mummy. It cannot be normal summon unless you control a Ghostrick monster. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position. And while this card is face up on the field, you can normal summon 1 Ghostrick monster in addition to your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters except for dark monsters. Not really that much of a limit for the deck. It's the good majority of our extra deck to begin with. And with this card, you also have options for setting up more monsters on the field, including one of our rank 3 monsters, which is Ghostrick Alucard, having more of a destruction setup with that. For some of the 1-ofs for the deck, I run 1 Ghostrick Fairy, with this one having a flip-up option to target a Ghostrick in our graveyard and set that card, but banish it when it leaves the field. But if you at least use that card for an Xyz monster, it'll go back into the graveyard for you to use with Ghostrick Fairy. Also, 1 Ghostrick Doll. With this one, during the end phase, change as many face-up monsters on the field as possible to face down defense position. Then you can special summon 1 Ghostrick monster from your deck in face down defense position whose level is less than or equal to the number of monsters flip face down. Another control setup card in Search. kind of like Jiangxi, but more of one that can disrupt your opponent's own monsters by flipping them face down. And then lastly, I do main deck one Ghostrick side, and along with the additional one I run in the deck. The one card I didn't have in the deck is Ghostrick Spectre. With that, I have the Hand Trap Spot, Ash Blossom, and Joyous Spring. But if you didn't want to run this in the deck, I would recommend putting in Ghostrick Spectre. It's the ghost one, or the one that looks like a ghost at least. And with that, you can adjust your numbers with the number of hand traps you run, with the number of Spectre you want to run. It just helps with the additional level 1 plays for the deck and all the other different ghost tricks. And that is it for the main deck monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. The newest spell from Battle of Chaos is Ghostrick Shot. You special summon one Ghostrick monster from your hand or graveyard. Then you can change one face-down Ghostrick monster you control to face-up attack position. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Ghostrick Excuse monster you control. Attach one Ghostrick card from your graveyard to that monster as material. You can only use each effect of Ghostrick Shot once per turn. So if you were attempting to go and use Ghostrick Angel of Mischief's game-winning card effect, this would probably be the fastest way to at least assist with doing so, having its own material attached along with this as well. And also just giving you that Ghostrick monster on the field from your hand or graveyard gives you then the option to summon out other Ghostrick monsters normally on the field to then also use your extra deck plays. And for the field spells, I run two Ghostrick Parade. Monsters cannot attack face-down defense position monsters, but can attack directly. And if all monsters their opponent controls are face-down defense position, your opponent takes no damage. And when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can add one Ghostrick card from your deck to your hand. More search for even any of the spells or traps you run, or any of the Ghostrick monsters, and one Ghostrick Mansion. They're both field spells, but having different options, with Ghostrick Mansion being monsters cannot attack face-down defense position monsters, but can attack directly. And if all monsters their opponent controls are face down, all effect damage and battle damage inflicted by the monsters other than ghost tricks is halved. It's more of a safety precaution card compared to the actual search power of Parade. That's why I'm running two Parade compared to the one Mansion. And that's a small number of spells. More of the focus is around the trap cards that we run in the deck. For the traps, I'm running three Ghostrick Scare. Target any number of face-down defense position monsters you control. Change them to face-up defense position. Count the number of Ghostrick monsters among them. If you do, change up to that many face-up monsters your opponent control to face-down defense position. Just another way to rearrange all the different monsters on the field from their respective positions for a better setup for the actual Ghostrick ones you control. And I am running two of the new Ghost Trick or Treat. If you control a Ghost Trick field spell or Ghost Trick Link monster, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Your opponent can pay 2,000 life points to make this card's effect set this card instead of sending it to the graveyard. Otherwise, in the graveyard activation, for the rest of this turn, that face-up monster cannot attack. Its effects are negated. Also is changed to face-down defense position during the end phase. You can activate one Ghost Trick or Treat per turn. So it's a pretty heavy cost for your opponent to prevent this card from happening, but even then, it'll shut down your opponent's monster. It's a very useful card. It's just more of a specific use one because you do have to have the field spell or the link monster on the field to resolve. That's why I'm only running two copies compared to Ghostrick Scare. And I'm also running two Ghostrick Knight. This is a continuous spell. When a Ghostrick monster is on the field, your opponent cannot flip summon, and when this card is in your possession, it's destroyed by your opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard. Your opponent can't declare attacks for the rest of this turn. So it's a more protection card, just like the field spell against you. With this being able to set your opponent's monsters and making it so they can't flip summon, they're really locked into a lot of plays that they can't do. I like this card. It's great for the setup because you almost always will have a Ghostrick monster on the field. You'll be able to lock down your opponent's cards. I would say it's a better version of Swords of Concealing Light. I used to run that in the deck, but I definitely do like Ghostrick Knight much better. And then for the rest of the traps, I also run three Trap Trick. You run the Ghost Trick or Treat and the Ghostrick Scare. So great options to banish and set and then activate thanks to this card. So just additional search options using it. And I also run three Infinite Impermanence, just another addition to add with the Trap Trick if needed, or even just if your opponent goes first and you need to stop that monster effect, a good way to activate from the hand much more quickly. And then for the last of the traps, I just run one Metaverse. Being able to search out the respected, field spell that we run. I thought of running Terraforming. It's another preference that you can use, but just another trap option to set up more of the back row along with all the other ones I run in the deck. Having your opponent try and hit out one of those and then just activating Metaverse gives you a, just kind of like a fake against your opponent to target this card and still get your search. And that is it for the main deck. We will now move on to the extra deck. I run 3 Ghostrick Festival. Now this can even be a 2 of if you want to increase the number of your Xyz monsters that you run in the deck. You need 1 non-link Ghostrick monster. You can also use a face-down Ghostrick monster you control as material to link summon this card. While a Ghostrick card is in the field zone, your Ghostrick monsters can attack directly. And when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you contribute this card to special summon 1 Ghostrick monster from your deck in face-down defense position. You can only use this effect of Festival once per turn. So this gives you options for any of the Ghostrick monsters. You should always have the field spell ready to go as well. You have plenty of the new support to help with that as well. And with it, it's just an easy monster to make. You just need that 1 Ghostrick monster and you're ready to go. And you don't even have to worry about not being able to normal summon that monster. You can just set it and go right into this Ghostrick card. I also run 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice, and 1 Nightmare Unicorn for the rest of the Link monsters. For the Xyz monsters, I have 1 Ghostrick Dullahan, but like I said, if you want to adjust any of these numbers, you can drop the number of Link monsters you run, including, Ghostrick Festival. I will at least run 2, but you can always take out one of these and the other Link monsters to add in additional numbers of all these Xyz. Dullahan's good for the power-up, and then just being able to half your opponent's monster's attack. The Soakubos for the rank 2 plays, another protection card with the control of the attack of your opponent's Ghostrick monsters and destroy it. And also I run 2 Ghostrick Alucard, probably one of my favorites in the deck just for its destruction and special summon power for your Ghostricks. And the 1 Ghostrick Angel of Mischief. This is the game-winning card having the attached material, but also being able to search out the Ghostrick spell and taps by detaching materials. I definitely do prefer that to the actual chance of winning with its second card effect, but still a much better shot thanks to Ghostrick Shot added to the deck now. And I also run the 1 F-Zero Utopic Future and the 1 Draco Future. If you run additional numbers, aside from the Ghostrick Alucard, because you need 2 of the same rank to go into Utopic Future. So if you add additional numbers of these by taking out the other Link monsters, you have a better shot at doing so. And I also run the 1 Downward Magician and the 1 Zeus, because you will attack with your Xyz monsters more than your actual main deck Ghostrick monsters in the deck. So I like to add these additional ways just to clear the field of some cards your opponent may try to set up. And then as for the go-to plays, like I said, the Link monster definitely does add a lot because you have to just set that 1 Ghostrick monster on the field and you can go right into the Link monster. The big part is just having that field spell set up to use as well. So as long as you have that or the play for the field zone or the option for your Ghostrick monster to attack directly, you can at least wait till you get that card, but also just rely on more of the control with cards like Ghostrick Mary and Lantern to protect your other Ghostricks and Festival on the field, because also with the special summon option of Festival, you'll want to go into some of the more important Ghostrick monsters that can set up a lot of your different plays, whether it's setting down your opponent's own monsters and then locking them into being able to flip them face up. With cards like Ghostrick Knight, all is available to you with this deck to do so. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. As always, I'm always happy to update the Ghostrick deck. It feels like we get some really good support with each reveal for it. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.